the examinations of the galaxies of space, images begin to appear. Images of strange and powerful forces. But of all the forces in the universe, the most powerful, J. Rich Talks, and all the various podcasting platforms begin to collide. It's the ultimate challenge. It's J. Rich Talks. Rhodes and Solo Sickle Cell compete in Bloodline rules for the WWE Undisputed title. Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan battle for the cuckold title of the universe from Dirty Dom for the WWE Women's title. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre collide with special guest referee Seth Rollins. Gunther and Damian Priest battle for the World Heavyweight title. And Nia Jax, Bayley, Sami Zayn, Braun Breaker, and more. It's the ultimate challenge! It's SummerSlam in Cleveland! It's J. Rich Talks! Welcome everyone to another episode of J. Rich Talks, and it has been a long time coming. And wasn't planning on doing this one solo dolo, but I promised everyone a review tonight, and you're gonna get it. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. The show has been gone for quite some time. It's been approximately, I think the last show that's published, at least, for WWE reviews was War Games. Very first War Games. And it's been a while. A lot of things have changed in WWE. A lot of situations with Vince McMahon, and we'll cover those. I'm going to do a lot more solo content where I just kind of break down some news, give my thoughts on things, and cover some retro stuff. Want to get more into the schedule of doing these things? I work Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, 8 to 4:30 rather. So got a little more time, got a little more set schedule to get these out. You'll see as we do the reviews, obviously the usual suspects. You'll see Burner come back. You'll see, Devin make an appearance here or there. Both had planned to be here tonight. Both had scheduling conflicts, so we ultimately did not get to do that. Little things different for the show. I do want to put it out there. I will not be, I have not been taking my own notes. I will be using, and I'll give him a shout out when I pull up the link, but it's a brilliant reviewer, and I'm not going to use his opinions per se, but I will be using his match breakdowns. Is taking notes for the matches have definitely taken and deterred me away from my enjoyment of them. So for his brilliant note taking, I'm going to utilize him. So I definitely wanted to make sure everyone knew that. So if there's a spot that's missed, it's not because I'm not jotting it down. It is him. But he is, I'm telling you right now, he's excellent. He does a great job. And I'll shout him out when I get his link pulled up here. As I forgot, I think it was like KJ's reviews or something like that. I didn't want to, give him the wrong name here. But yeah, it's been a while. We will still be on the same platforms. I am going to be working on taking the old podcast down. If you go on Spotify right now, you will see there will be 2. I know that's kind of a clusterfuck. But the Spotify, I will try to get that fixed as soon as possible because right now there is 2 of those showing up. If you're on Apple Podcasts, then it'll be a lot easier for you to maintain and keep an eye out on the show. And we'll try to do these a lot more at a more routine time frame. This is at 11:23, right before I hit the hay. Wanted to make sure we got these knocked out because, again, I promised you guys the show. Wanted to make sure we got it out to you. Now, the other thing I wanted to kind of address is what kind of content you'll be seeing going forward. we have agreed to do Raw and SmackDown reviews, but the schedule for that, and I just wanted to get this out at the top of the show, because the schedule for the Raw and SmackDown reviews are going to be a little different. Usually we did the Raw and SmackDown reviews directly after the show. It doesn't fit my scheduling conflict, as I'd like to be able to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and these reviews can be pretty lengthy. So it wasn't going to work out for me that way. And because Devin working overnights, it's not going to work out for him either. So this is what we're targeting. Raw reviews will come out on Wednesdays. They'll be pre-recorded, but rest assured we will still be there monitoring the live chat for anyone that wants to speak. It's not going to be a less interactive show. Feel free to definitely come in and comment, like, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. Now, for SmackDown, it will be the very next day. It'll be Saturdays that we're targeting. Saturdays are going to be a little different, because on the Saturday where there's a pay-per-view, you're going to get 2 shows. So on Saturdays going forward, you'll be getting the Friday Night SmackDown reviews as well as the pay-per-view pre-shows every Saturday, probably around noon. I'll get a concrete time posted on social media so you guys can get an idea when to look out for those Saturday shows. But the Friday Night SmackDown reviews will be on Saturdays, approximately at noon. Will also be a pay-per-view pre-show in the event that a pay-per-view is taking place on a Saturday night. And then for the pay-per-view reviews, rather than pre-record it and air it on Sunday, just as we used to do back in the day, pay-per-view reviews will take place live directly after the show going forward. This one's a little different. Again, we had some scheduling conflicts, but we are here ready to go. General overall thoughts before we go in and talk about each match and programs with the show. And just kind of give you general overall thoughts of the product as a whole, because it's been a while. It's been a while. Like I said, I haven't tackled a show for WWE since approximately War Games. I think the last review I had done was actually some NFL content. So WWE's been on the back burner. A lot of things have changed. Obviously, Vince McMahon is gone. This is the Paul Levesque era, so they say. There's going to be some people ain't going to like my takes on that when it comes to Monday and Friday nights. But as far as creative goes, there is some things that are improved and some things that remain largely the same. And this isn't an issue exclusively with him. This is an issue with the companies, the way it's structured. And I feel like once they get to different spots and, they're less, once they finally find a way to cater around that publicly traded, because you got to remember, they have a lot of investors that they have to keep happy. So there's going to be a lot of, and they said that they were going to be a little more, what was the word Triple H used? He said something to the effect of they were going to be a little more, risque or whatever going forward on, on Netflix. So hopefully that'll improve the edginess of the product. Hopefully they'll change the way they format the show, because ultimately it doesn't matter how good the matches in the ring are, how good the creative is. My biggest issue with WWE has been and always will be, and still is to this day, the format of the show. It's a fucking struggle sitting down to watch Monday Night Raw. We were watching, because most of the time when we came back, I didn't watch the Raw or SmackDowns leading up to this. This one I tried. I watched one SmackDown and one Raw. Not the Go Home SmackDown. I did miss that one. But I did watch the Go Home Raw, well, at least half of it before I fell asleep. And then, I know it sounds terrible, and the SmackDown that was preceding that. And the biggest issue was with those shows, man. Again, I just wanted to get this out here before we talk about the pay-per-view, but because it has been such a long time. I know there's some people probably waiting to hear this stuff. So my biggest issues with the show remains, man, it's not even a matter of the creative or the wrestling in the ring. And obviously I have some issues with some of that stuff too. But my biggest issues or complaints when it comes to WWE is just how hard it is to sit through a goddamn show. SmackDown's not as terrible because it's 2 hours long. And realistically, it's like 40 minutes of commercials. It's not as bad, but Raw is unbearable. I actually fucking proposed a challenge of both Devin and Burner. I told them both, I was like, what I wanted to do is all three of us putting all technology, anything down. Like the only thing we could do is strictly watch Raw, right? Just watch Raw, nothing else. No phones, no video games, no talking to nobody. Just watch Raw for 3 hours, commercials included, without falling asleep on a full stomach. I'm telling you, it's not happening, bruh. I've tried so hard. And it's, again, because the matches are so it's so formulaic on Mondays. They wrestle for a little bit. Somebody hits a high spot. We go to commercial. We come back. Somebody's in a rest hold. Or sometimes they'll come back and they're doing some more flippity flips. And then before you know it, the match is over. You know, if you're lucky, you might get 2 commercial breaks. But even then, there's not much action going on in the ring. And it's because you're 2-3 commercials deep already into the segment. Hell, they'll come out for, and then the next match, it'll come out that one person comes out for an entrance, we go to commercial. We come back, their music is still playing, someone else comes out, they start wrestling, 2-3 minutes go by, bam, commercial. And it's like, bro, like, it's so unbearable. And that's one thing that they need to fix. Like, that's one problem. My major issue I have with this company is the format of the show. SmackDown doesn't have this issue. Is bad. It definitely does have it. Like, don't get me wrong. In fact, I think the definitive way to watch SmackDown is through Hulu. If you have Hulu, especially if you have Hulu Premium, it is a hell of a lot more bearable to watch SmackDown. But the pay-per-views, outside of the fact that they're now PLEs, my apologies, I had to start calling them PLEs. The pay-per-views, the PLEs haven't been as bad as the TV shows. My only issue is with the matches in the ring, and we'll kind of go over that because I didn't really think this was the greatest show, but there was some matches that weren't as terrible as you might expect to hear from one of my reviews. So we'll go through this here. Let me go ahead and pull up these notes, and so I can shout out this guy here. As going forward, we'll be using his notes for the move, the move by move breakdowns. But let me go ahead and pull this up here. Do apologize. Still trying to get all this laid out, so I didn't have everything all ready to go. Let me see here. God damn. This is why you don't use fucking Bing. Bing fucking sucks. Hold on. Shout out to fucking Google. Way fucking better. Okay. Wrestling reviews. SummerSlam. Okay. Because this guy does an amazing job. Covers it spot for spot. Have not seen a review of his where he hasn't just nailed it on the spot for spot. TGR Wrestling. My apologies. That's the guy we're going to look for. So for going forward, whatever he's puts spot for spot, that's where you're going to be hearing it from. So yeah, so show started off and we had the, same old bullshit, American fucking national anthem, all that bullshit. They had Jelly Roll. Triple H came out, have everybody give him a big old SummerSlam, suck me off. They're doing the entrances from behind, back in the stage. I do like that. That is a presentation change. Makes it feel more lively. It's not so fucking formulaic. I do like that. Change of pace. And Rhea Ripley, she's making her entrance. This is her first match back from injury, as we're told. Commentary crew is shown for the one and only time. Liv Morgan comes out, and the story of this match that they've been showing is kind of like a love triangle thing. Nothing new and nothing innovative. But, to be fair, outside of, most of the matches we've been getting as a result of the storyline being not the greatest, at least the performances or the story being told is not terrible. This is not bad. This is actually probably the best use of Liv Morgan I've seen. Personally, I'm still not a big Liv Morgan fan, and I can't stand the way she sells. I can't stand the way she, there's a lot of things about her I don't like. We'll go over, but this is probably where her strong suit is, because this is a very believable storyline for her. For a lot of people, they're able to get into this. And then Dom, his shit with Rhea has probably been the best shit he's done since he's became an active wrestler on the roster. And yeah, so I mean, obviously this is probably some of his best work too. And Rhea, you know, she's honestly probably one of the bright spots, and not just of the women's division, but of the whole company. And so she makes the whole thing go. In fact, she's the only reason the Judgment Day is still a fucking thing at this point, because I'm telling you right now, people do not give a fuck about the faction. They care about her. But yeah, so I mean, you know, this is just kind of going into it. The build, you know, from what I caught, wasn't horrible. I saw a match between Jey Uso and he was wrestling Carlito, and caught some other vignettes on Raw and shit. And, you know, from the looks of it, you know, they kind of went a little too fast with the swerve. I feel like they could have waited on that, but it's because they had to swerve waiting for, you know, SummerSlam. But anyway, the match started off with Liv Morgan running away from Rhea Ripley repeatedly. She kept doing the whole fucking, you know, running away, shit heel, fucking catch me if you can type shit. And obviously, once Rhea Ripley was able to get a hold of her, she then hit some clotheslines. They looked all right. Wasn't the greatest. There was a half and this he notes here. There's a half and half suplex from Rhea, leading to Morgan bailing to the floor again. That was one thing I didn't like at the beginning, is that they were kind of trying to tell this whole, like, okay, Rhea's able to fucking slam her, so Liv's gonna have to be creative because she can't do anything. She can't out wrestle Rhea, and Rhea's fucking beating the tar off her. And at first it was working, but it would kind of start to fall apart a little later. Rhea fucking, she like fucking taunted Liv by licking Dominic's cheek. She worked her over with some punches and a chop to the chest, which that was one thing about this that was kind of annoying at the beginning, is you were literally quoted as saying, "I'm going to kill her." And yet Rhea Ripley, who said that, opens the match smiling and looking at her. Terrible, terrible fucking look, especially with the video package you played beforehand. And from Liv Morgan's point of view, this is supposed to be the Liv Morgan revenge tour. And she's going in there smiling, and they're doing the same shit. Doesn't look right, man. I'm telling you, I wanted a fucking 2K breakout to start beating the tar off each other. Didn't work for me. Especially then when we're over here hitting chops and shit. I've never liked the idea of when you're in a feud like that that's been built up to be hitting chops and shit. Like, because the first thing comes in my mind, I'm not trying to slap your chest, I'm going to punch you in the fucking face. You know what I mean? So it's like, I didn't like that. But then she had sent Liv Morgan into the steel steps. They go back in the ring. Rhea then nailed Liv with the headbutt and a slam that sent Liv back into the turnbuckle. Rhea then goes for the riptide, but Liv managed to slip out. And Liv sent a charged Rhea into the turnbuckle. Liv sent Rhea's right shoulder into the turnbuckle, and this is where the match would start to grow, but also fall apart, because the story they're telling at this point, the whole Liv's gonna have to find a way, you know, the fucking catch as catch can, fucking, I'm gonna fucking, you know, run out of the way, I'm gonna have to make something out of this because I can't out wrestle this bitch and she's stronger than me. It was working. And then you hurt the shoulder. That's perfect, because then it takes away the power moves. It's a great story being told. We'll get to how they fucked it up, and it's one of the most egregious fucking things I've ever seen. That's why I did not like this match. So, Rhea's shouting to the referee. She's screaming in agony, too, making a big deal of it, that it's out. It's out. My shoulder's out. So she's telling the ref that her shoulder's out. So she leaves the ring. And she's selling the shoulder really fucking harsh, talking to Dominic about it. And so goddamn, she gets back in the ring, and fucking Morgan's now attacking the shoulder. She's putting her shoulder in the ropes, doing the whole fucking armbar shit. Sent her crashing into the steps when they were outside for a bit. That got a 2 count when they came back in. Liv is kicking Rhea repeatedly in the right shoulder. Fucking... She rammed Rhea's shoulder into the mat again. She's just attacking the shoulder. So again, the psychology was very good at this point. This is the beginning of the match. We're attacking the shoulder, and we've now made it look somewhat believable that Liv could beat her with the story that's already been told, where she's going to have to find a way, right? So it's working so far. And the fans are there's dual chants. They're chanting, "Let's go Rhea, let's go Liv." Didn't really hear that so much on my side. This is what he has noted here, but when I was listening to it live, and mind you, I do have a really, really nice sound setup. Didn't really catch that. Might have been faint. But anyway, Liv then hit a double knee to the shoulder, but Rhea came back with a kick that knocked Liv down. Liv went for a suicide dive, but Dominic shoved Rhea out of the way, and that would cause Liv to hit the floor. Well, actually, she would hit Dominic and knock him down to the floor. Rhea then banged her shoulder against, this is where it falls apart. So Rhea goes over to the commentary table and lives inside the ring or whatever, because she goes back in after, hitting Dom or whatnot. And they're just staring each other down, and then fucking Rhea goes over to the announcer's table. Dom's checking up on her, and she just rams her fucking shoulder into the table. And that's supposed to pop it back in place. What are we fucking doing? Like, I was into the match. I'm getting into it. It's all right. It's a good story being told. Not the, again, not the best performer. I would have liked to see Rhea wrestle someone else, because I don't really care for Liv Morgan in the ring, but everything's going great, and I'm actually getting into it, and then you fucking take me out with that fucking bullshit. Again. Anyway, it really fucking bothered me, because I'm like, okay, so that's how that works. Okay. If I have a fucking shoulder injury, I'll just ram it into something. But, that aside, as we'll try to ignore that, get back to it here. She then goes inside and continues the same old offense, and from this point, all psychology's been thrown out the window, and we're just hitting spots. She goes for a fucking drop kick, sends Liv into the turnbuckle, slams her in the face, first into the mat for a 2 count, went for a lifting move, but then Liv countered with a DDT. It's supposed to be like a tornado DDT she countered with. Looked like shit. Camber kind of saved it, though. Liv then fucking charged right into a kick by Rhea. Rhea then applied the prism lock. I think this is the thing where she does grabs her by the legs or whatever. I always hate that. It looks fucking fake as fuck. I'm not a big fan of that move. So do you like Junkyard Dog, WWE guy? Junkyard Dog. Hey, JYD was awesome. We could always talk about that in a bit. Let me go ahead and get through this match real quick, and I'll, if we have any kind of questions, we can go over that. So then, after the prism lock, Liv was able to counter that by sending Rhea into the turnbuckle. Liv then came back with the crucifix driver. Actually, this one actually looked pretty good. It was stiff, nice, looked good, tight. And Liv then applied an arm bar on the right arm. So we're going back to the shoulder. Like the idea, but when we've already told all the viewers that her shoulder's no longer hurt because she mysteriously just rams it into a fucking announcer's table to fix it, which I cannot stress to you how stupid that is, then the fucking suddenly attacking the shoulder doesn't work anymore. Anyway, they go into the arm bar in the right arm, but Rhea's blocking it. She managed to get back to her feet and hit a power bomb, which, by the way, before she got into that, when they were in the middle of the arm bar, Rhea, and you could hear it clear as day, at least I could, maybe it's just my equipment, but you could hear it clear as day, and you could see her mouthing it too. She got caught mouthing the spot live, which is power bomb. So I'm like, I knew the power bomb spot was coming. One, just because if you watch wrestling long enough, you knew it was coming anyway. But two, you could literally see the bitch calling spots. So that was a bad sequence. Bad job for the cameraman. Whoever set that up, that caused that fuck up, they fucked up. But anyway, she hits the power bomb to escape the armbar. That got a 2 count. Rhea then fucking, they're sitting there jabbing at each other, and fucking Liv hits her with the headbutt, and then Liv pulls up on the right arm against the middle rope. Liv then grabs, exits the ring, grabs a chair, which I'm like, where is this going? I'm like, okay, the finish must be coming soon. And it wasn't alone, because at this point, everyone in the audience starts to stand up, because they're anticipating, okay, this is it. And Liv then fucking brings the chair into the ring, and then Rhea shoved her shoulder into the turnbuckle a couple more times, because I guess it was re-injured, but she already healed it before, but now she's healing it again. This whole shit was ass! But anyway, she fixed her fucking shoulder again, and does this whole bullshit where she fixes her fucking shoulder, kicks fucking Liv so the chair flies out of her fucking hands, and hits her with the riptide. But she doesn't go for the cover. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, what are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? And so she doesn't go for the cover. And it's this point, it's like all psychology has been thrown out the window. We've completely lost the plot. We've lost the story of the match. But then they're going in to tell this whole story that she's losing her sight because of her anger. But that was not the story that was being told in the ring. So out of nowhere, she just sees a chair and she wants to hit her with it. Fucking stupid. Doesn't make sense. In the context of the build, it makes sense. But the story that was being told in the ring, it made no sense for her to do that. Came out of fucking nowhere and it didn't work. Fell flat for me and ultimately fell flat for the crowd. So she goes to grab the chair. Dominic pulls the chair from her hands, which probably got the biggest reaction because, again, people are into the story. They're into the build. And pulls the chair from her hands. And fucking said, you can't win the title like this. And the fans, they're cheering, they're booing, they're all over the place. And fucking Morgan then drop kicks Rhea into the back, which knocks Dominic off the apron. Morgan then fucking hits Oblivion, which I didn't even know the name of that fucking move. And we get a false finish. And at that point, like, that's the biggest reaction you're going to get. So, unless you follow it up with Rhea, fucking winning or something, right? Which I guess they didn't care about the reaction at the end of the match. They wanted the post-match reaction, which, to their credit, at least got the reaction they wanted. Because after the false finish, we go right into the same spot again. Dominic's now distracting the referee or saying something to the referee, and that leaves Liv to hit another Oblivion to Rhea, who stumbled up to get on hold of the ropes, and she hits her on the chair this time with it. 1, 2, 3, and Liv Morgan retains the title. And then the big story is obviously that whoever the cameraman, he fucked up another spot too, because during the end of the finish, he cut to a shot of Dom smiling, which, okay, I guess for the television audience, that's the spot you wanted to reveal to them. I don't think so, because they already had the camera set and ready to go for them to kiss and hug each other outside the ring. So I don't know if that was a fuck up for them having that little shot of him smiling or whatnot, but because after the shot of him smiling, they cut to fucking Rhea selling, and then we get to the replay, right? And fucking that's when they see that he did it, and then we come out of the replay and Rhea saw it too, right? They show her watching it. And that's when we get the shot of him and her kissing and smiling. So I don't know if they fucked up by showing him smiling before they cut to her selling. But, yeah, kind of gave it away. He gave it a 4-star match. I don't do match ratings. I'll just tell you if I think it was a good match or if I thought, or if I liked it, didn't like it. It's totally up to your opinion. Some people will think that fucking Great Khali is a fucking 5-star wrestler. There's no fucking criteria. Dave Meltzer doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about either. So I don't do match ratings. I didn't think this was that great of a match. I think both fucking women have had better performances. Liv Morgan, I'm not a big fan of, but she has had done better stuff. Rhea, this is certainly not where, this doesn't hold a candle to anything she did with fucking Charlotte. So I'm not a big fan of this program, but, a lot of people are into the build, and I don't think it's going to end here. It's obviously going to continue. So for that, and that's one thing you'll see a lot about this night. As predictable as the finish was, because when you looked at the finish, it was like, all right, it's either Rhea's going to win clean, which no one thinks they're going to do that because, fucking they want to protect Liv. And if you do the protection, it was going to be a protection finish in one of two ways. It's either going to be protection where Dom screws over Liv and helps Rhea, which that would have been too predictable. So they try to go the unpredictable route. But in this sense, I actually thought the other route was more predictable. This is probably the most unpredictable finish they had of the night. Because everything else you could have called. But me and Devin, right before this match started, I was like, it's either going to be Rhea going over clean, because I don't think Dom's going to screw over Liv or whatever for her, right? So it's going to be Rhea winning clean, or it's going to be fucking Dom screws over Rhea and sides with Liv. And part of the reason too, is that you can kind of tell, at least from what I can see, it looks like WWE's wanting to fucking start gearing Rhea into a face run, which makes sense. So I think this is the start of that. And it might be the end of the Judgment Day, per se. But it definitely makes sense because her and Damian Priest, and I'm not big on Damian Priest, but I'll tell you right now, if this was the start of turning him face, it also worked for him as well. So I think that might be what they're trying to do going forward. We're moving into Rhea as a face, Damian as a face, Judgment Day's going bye-bye, and this is our good fuse to get us through the fall. So for that matter, you know, in the regards to the booking, it wasn't terrible. And there was a decent amount of good booking decisions on the show. So, you know, kudos to Triple H or the writers, whoever came with that shit. But the matches in the ring, for this show at least, wasn't feeling it. And we'll get to the next one. So after that, you know, they had some segments, commercials, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Don't like there being commercials during a PLE or a paper. I don't care if it's PLE. I'm going to call it pay-per-view. It's pay-per-view for as long as I've been watching wrestling. It's going to be called a fucking pay-per-view. So, anyway, they show Sami Zayn getting ready for his match. We then get the video package of him and Braun Breaker. I actually did catch their Money in the Bank match, and I thought it was fucking dreadful. Like, you could tell both guys didn't really have the energy in it. They didn't care. This match, there was a hell of a lot more energy, but it did lack the psychology and the thought that you would expect from the two guys involved. Braun's a little more, you know, green. He's a little more new, so I can understand maybe why he wouldn't be sitting here fucking, and he's a powerhouse. It's this whole thing. Not really any fucking psychology behind that. You go in there and get the fuck out. You know what I mean? So I get that. But with Sami Zayn, I expected a lot more, especially, you know, with his track record. And he's actually been, you know, a couple of his matches this year that I've seen, including the Mania match he had with Gunther. I've enjoyed Sami Zayn's work, but didn't enjoy this one. This one is better than the Money in the Bank match. But it just, my biggest problem with it is that I feel like with these guys, they didn't need a trilogy of fights. These guys only needed one match. Because the problem with this is that the matches don't work whenever Sami's in control. Because it just doesn't look believable. The psychology, I mean, you know, they could try to set it up as good as you want, but nobody's going to buy him beating Braun's ass for a majority of the match. It's just not going to happen. So the whole Sami Zayn coming from behind kind of story that they'd like to tell, that's the best version to do. But they already did that. That was their first match. So it's like, and then a little bit of the second too. So they can't do that same kind of story 3 times in a row. So I get that they wanted this to be Sammy's the veteran who, you know, is more in control of the match, is taking advantage of the younger guy. But I didn't care for it, and I think the finish fell flat too. And I really don't like everybody using the fucking spear. But anyway, we'll just break the match down real quick. Match starts off, Braun went for a spear. Zayn fucking leapfrogged to avoid it. Braun's down on the floor, leading to Sami Zayn diving onto him on the floor. Back in the ring, Sami goes for a haluva kick, and Braun avoids it. Braun got some offense going with the leaping clothesline that Pat then correctly called a Steiner line. Good note here by TGR. They battled by the turnbuckle. Sami was seated on the top rope, and Braun hit a Frankensteiner for a 2 count. This athletic son of a bitch should get up for the Frankensteiner the way he does. Zayn then hit a few slaps to the face. He then did a leapfrog over Braun, and Zayn hit a clothesline. Zayn did a lift. Braun flipped over to land on his knees, and Braun went for a bulldog up the turnbuckle, but Zayn countered with the Blue Thunder Bomb for a 2 count. Zayn hit an exploder suplex into the turnbuckle. Zayn charged for more, but Braun came back with an impressive spear to knock Zayn down. Braun was selling a right shoulder injury, which I thought that was kind of goofy, being as the last match revolved around a shoulder injury. And that's one thing with this company you'll note. A lot of guys do the same spots. They sell the same shit. They tell the same stories back to back. Like, you'll have a match where the baby face is coming from behind, right? And the very next match is the same shit. Like, I hate when you get the same moves, the same spots, the same stories back to back to back to back. It'd be like watching a movie over back to back to back to back. But it's the same, it's a different movie, but the same fucking plot, right? It'd be like watching Taken, and then that fucking version, it's like a ripoff of Taken with Jackie Chan, and then like watching the fucking ripoff that they had with fucking Jennifer Garner. Because there was like 3 of the same movies where it was like somebody's family is fucking their daughter's kidnapped or killed. They want revenge. They go and get it, right? And it's the same fucking movie over and over again. But the first one's the best one. The last 2 all fucking suck. And that's one thing I hate with watching this shit. But anyway. Oh, and my fucking phone died. Hold on. God damn. I'm telling you, it's first show back. Kinks. Trying to get these knocked out. I do apologize. Go ahead and pull up the notes again. Again, want to shout out TGR. I'm using his spot-for-spot breakdown for the notes. Cannot recommend them enough. If you want a match, if you want a good written review, definitely check them out, as I think they are excellent. Just trying to find it again here. I do apologize. Okay, there we go. Yes, I'm gonna plug my phone in real quick. All right, and we're back. All right, and then so anyway, picking up where we left off, Zayn then after he hit the exploder suplex and turnbuckle, Zayn then charged him for more, but Braun came back with an impressive spear, so he thought. I didn't think it looked all that crazy. Braun was selling the right shoulder injury, which is what we kind of got sidetracked on. Braun then ran the ropes very quickly, leading to another spear for the pinfall at 5:40 minute, quick match. Didn't really, like I said, didn't really tickle my fancy with it. Didn't think it did all the much of making Braun look that impressive either. It's funny, we were watching it in Discord, and obviously we had our screen shared, as one might expect. And my buddy Emmanuel was watching. He doesn't really typically watch wrestling reviews. He doesn't watch wrestling shows or pay-per-views anymore. Stopped watching a long time ago. He's not the biggest wrestling fan. And he's watching this in the highlights, the promo package, where they're showing talking about the story and all that stuff, right? He's watching it and he's like, oh wow, that Braun Breaker guy. He was really impressed by Braun Breaker. Thought it was crazy how he did the spear in midair. He's athletic, he's fast. And even he, when he was watching this match, couldn't stand that he was doing all these flips and shit. I was like, why the fuck didn't he wrestle big? He thought he was going to wrestle like a Goldberg or a Brock Lesnar or someone like that. And that's not really what you get with Braun Breaker. He's over here doing these flips and shit. He's getting knocked down by little guys. Like I remember Mayu did not like that he get knocked down. And that's how average people are going to look at that. See, people in the wrestling bubble aren't going to fucking think about that. But that's how people outside of the wrestling bubble look at that. They look at that and it looks fucking fake. Because Sami Zayn looks like a fucking homeless person. All right, and I'm not saying that, an average person couldn't beat a guy's ass, but let's be fucking real. In a real fight, there is no way in fucking hell you're telling me that you think Sami Zayn is going to beat Braun Breaker's ass. And that's where there's a disconnect with the casual audience, which is the audience they need. Because their viewers ain't getting any fucking better. It's they need to continue to be stagnant as a company. They would ideally, you would like to see, better viewership numbers, better attendance. I know WWE's doing just fine right now financially, but man, it would be a lot more fun to see the entire year with the fans excited as they were during WrestleMania season, if they had something like that to be excited about. They were that excited over one guy and one program. Imagine if every fucking program was treated with the same kind of care, or if people had carried themselves in their fucking characters the way that the fucking Rock did during WrestleMania season. And that's one thing, Braun Breaker, honestly, my biggest complaints with him is I just wish he would wrestle like that. Be a big guy. You're a big guy. Your name is Braun fucking Breaker and you're doing flips. What the fuck are you doing, bro? Like, it makes no fucking sense. But anyway, again, more commercials, bullshit like that. Some Slim Jim fucking shit. Stephanie McMahon was shown ringside. Cool for her. And we then obviously get the video package for the fucking Logan Paul and LA Knight shit. And I didn't really care for this match. It wasn't terrible. And this is one of the better matches on the show. I just wish that it had more of like a story or something like that being told. wasn't really a story being told per se. It was kind of spotty, a lot of spots. But at least, Logan Paul, he's good at bringing the crowd back into it. And LA Knight did a good job, too. So it wasn't horrible. Was definitely sloppy a little bit here and there. There was some stiff shots being thrown. It was a fun match to watch. I mean, I'll give you that. It wasn't like as spot festy as like a fucking AEW match. This felt about, if you're going to have a spot fest or like a brawl, this is a good one. It's kind of sad that this is the match that I would have wanted for fucking, Rhea and fucking Liv. With the build to their fucking shit, that it would have made more sense for this story this match kind of told, where it was kind of just basically a brawl. Would have made more sense for them, but oh well. Anyway, fucking looks like LA Knight opens it up, or they had fucking had a bunch of pre-match shit, right? Like they were attacking each other before the match started. Fucking, goddamn, they're fucking ramming each other in the commentary table, fucking doing all kinds of shit, spitting prime drink into fucking each other's faces, doing a whole bunch of shit, right? And then the bell rings or whatever after they're in the ring. LA Knight kind of takes control, and I ain't gonna lie, majority of this match was just him beating Logan Paul's ass, which, I guess it was probably a good thing to get the fans. They probably, because honestly, it felt like in the beginning of the match that Logan was working face, and I almost wonder if they expected him to get a better reaction in Cleveland. But you could tell they turned it around like pretty fucking quick. The second the fans started booing really loud, Logan kind of played up to it, and then he stopped selling like a fucking face, like doing the whole, come from behind kind of selling. Stops that shit and started selling like a heel. So I don't know if that was a part of it at all. That's just from what it looked like from my standpoint. Maybe that was him just trying to sell like he's just tired, and it came across as him selling like a face, but it kind of looked like, LA Knight was kind of working more fucking heelish the way he was just beating the tar out of him. So that's the kind of story I was getting at first, and then fucking, again, they switched it off. But yeah, he fucking, Logan Paul nailed a big boot to the face, followed by a split leg drop. Again, he's working it up here. Hit a gauntlet suplex. Bounce off the ropes, leading into him hitting a power slam. LA Knight hitting a power slam, that is. Paul had some bruising under his right eye. Again, I mentioned it during the match. He had like a mouse on his right eye. Didn't look the greatest. Again, I don't know where that came from, but he definitely got stiff up there. Then fucking LA Knight worked him over, some punches, kicks, his turnbuckles, hitting him some chops, all kinds of shit. Hit a running knee attack, hit a side effect. Jumped off the top rope with an elbow drop for a 2 count. Came back with a spring, or if Logan came back with a springboard punch that knocked fucking LA Knight to the apron, or from the apron to the floor. Paul hit a fucking springboard moonsault that looked really nice to the outside. I remember that one. I'm telling you right now, as an athlete, Logan Paul, for a big dude especially, because he's not a small guy. Dude is a freak athlete. That is one thing I'll give him. Like, it was a cool moment. Anyway, fucking back in the ring, LA Knight goes for the BFT, his little finish or whatever, but Paul avoids it and gets a backslide. It was kind of a slower one. I don't know if there was like an issue there, but both guys were kind of tired by this point, I'm assuming. He then nailed LA Knight with a punch to the jaw for a fucking 2 count. I don't know if that's supposed to be his finish or what. I mean, I know it's what they were selling during the Roman Reigns match, the one lucky punch or whatever the fuck, but hits him with that, and, it didn't really get the reaction either that it would be a finish either. It just kind of came across in a fucking normal punch, but just floored his ass. But anyway, goes up top, hits a fucking frog splash, but LA Knight was able to roll out of the way. He then goes for the BFT, but Logan fucking shoved him off to avoid it. Then goes up top, but LA Knight jumped up top with him and hit a superplex. And I ain't gonna lie, I thought he hurt his neck on it. But fucking, and both guys kind of looked like they'd taken the rough landing on it too. But LA Knight was the one that initially, when I was watching it live, I was like, I guess he was protected by Logan's arm too. But it didn't look good at first from the first angle we got of it. I was like, did he fucking land on his fucking neck? But anyway, yeah, it was kind of fuckery on the superplex. And Then Logan fucking eye gouges Knight when they get back up. Again, decent selling. Like, they weren't, like, just getting up and hitting these moves back to back. They were selling it a little bit in between, but definitely left a little bit to be desired. You could tell they weren't given the most time, or at least with the moves they were wanting to do to be able to sell them all correctly. So I can't give them too much shit. It wasn't the most egregious shit I've ever seen. Anyway, then fucking Logan Paul goes outside. He's talking to fucking MGK and who else on his podcast or whatever. And he grabbed a fucking set of brass knucks or whatever from fucking MGK. And fucking they're on the apron. And fucking LA Knight's like lifting up Logan Paul and shit. So Logan Paul hits him with the brass knucks. But fucking he then goes for the buckshot lariat. LA Knight avoids it and hits the BFT, and he ends up winning. So they gave him like 12 minutes. Like I said, it probably were expecting a little more and they would have been able to sell better. Wasn't a terrible match, but it just kind of came off as a brawl. Not the best outing for LA Knight or Logan Paul. They both had way better matches, but Logan Paul, you know, it's not his worst match. I'll say that. He's still fun to watch. It was all right. Didn't really particularly care for this match at the end of the day, though. I was still kind of frustrated because I was wanting a really good, solid wrestling match. And the next match we'd actually get, surprisingly, in my opinion, out of the entire show, although I think the main event is probably the best match, and I do think that it isn't as good as the Gunther and Damian Priest match. I think this is probably the third best match on the show is the next one. It exceeded expectation. I sure as fuck thought it was going to be way worse than this. And it ended up fucking being an actual fucking wrestling match. The finish kind of fucking fell flat and just came out of fucking nowhere. But this came across as it felt a little old school. Like the big fucking nasty heel and the baby face trying to survive. But I'm telling you, this shit worked for me. I was getting into it. I was able to get lost in the match. Because that's what happens. You watch like a Rocky movie, you get lost in it, right? You're watching it, you forget that you're watching a film. You're watching it, right? Same thing with wrestling match, and that's what you want. And I was able to get into this for a little bit. There's things that took me out of it, and big thing that was distracting. We were in Discord, and fucking our buddy Emmanuel, he was just going nuts over both Bailey and Nia's ass. So that happened to listen to that for fucking 20, 30 minutes, however long they wrestled, was diabolical, to say the least. But, yeah, no, definitely, anyway, fucking this match, like I said, it exceeded expectations. So it starts off, and the kind of story they're telling, too, is that they're putting a big rocket ship on Nia. And to be honest, give you some back history here. Not a big Nia Jax fan, not a big Bayley fan. Bayley, the last time I'd seen her was probably when I seen her live. I watched her live in 2016 when she was doing the wacky inflatable arm flailing tube droids bullshit. The hug me, hug him, whatever that bullshit was. Didn't really care for it. Nia, never been a big fan of hers. Always kind of felt like she was a little sloppy, and it left a lot to be desired in terms of like creativity as working as a big woman. Like, and that's the thing too. Some people will shit on her just because she's big, but that's the thing about Nia that I actually think works the best, is they don't have a lot of women. Like, every woman in that company looks the same. They all weigh like the fucking same. The women that stand out, right? The first women that come to mind that stand out, right? They all look different. Charlotte, Bianca, Rhea, they're built different. They don't look like all the other bitches. Everybody in that fucking company is like fucking 5 foot, 5'2". You know, if you're lucky, maybe they weigh 100 pounds. Every one of them. They look like small fucking toddlers. So when you see Rhea, who's got shoulders like fucking LeBron James, and fucking, Bianca's pretty built too, and the Jade Cargill, the bigger one, like, and not everyone has to be, it's not like, I'm not saying you have to be built either, you just have to have a different look. Look at Alexa Bliss, for example. When she was just her normal shit, she was able to stand out for a little bit, but then again, a lot of smaller wrestlers started coming in and the same kind of look, right? When she started doing the whole Bray Wyatt shit, she had a different look, the whole emo shit to work for her. Look at Nikki Cross, right? Whenever she'd had the gimmicks that, like, the weird shit that kind of stood out for her. So again, it's not just a matter of like being big and jacked or whatever. just having something different, because all the women look the fucking same. They wear generic fucking ring gear. They're like 5'2", and they weigh like 100 pounds, if that. And they go in there, I'm supposed to buy them beating one of the fucking, the bigger, fucking, more athletic looking women in the company. And so to have a heavyset woman in the company works. I think, like I said, that's one of Nia's strong suits. It's just that she never came across as athletic. She's like the big girl that doesn't look athletic. She has lost a lot of weight, and that definitely seemed to help in this match. But that's always been my thing, why I didn't care for Nia. Tonight, I'm not going to lie, she is really improved. From the last time I seen her. Last Nia Jax match I can remember, and again, I don't watch this shit all the time, right? So I'm not the perfect guy to be, I'm sure there's a lot of Nia Jax matches that people will point to, but the one that I think of, I remember her in a singles match at least, and I know she's probably had a lot after this, was her and Ronda. I can't remember what fucking pay-per-view was that. I know it was a pay-per-view for the belt, and it was sloppy as shit. I know that part of that is Ronda as well. I mean, that was right when Ronda first came in the company. It was like, because I went to that WrestleMania, the WrestleMania 34, the one in New Orleans. So it was like maybe a month or so after that, a couple months after that. And I just remember it wasn't the greatest. And I remember the match at WrestleMania that I saw live, her and Alexa Bliss, was not the greatest. Never been a big fan of Nia. But again, tonight, like I said, this might have been the third best match on the show. I actually enjoyed this quite a bit. So, match starts off. Bayley trapped Nia against the ropes. She's trying to, she came out firing, right? Like the big fucking, like remind me of like when Hogan was wrestling Bundy or Andre, or like, back in the day, you'd have the babyface come in. He's trying to attack the monster with a whole bunch of strikes, comes out gun swinging. And all that would lead to nothing, because then fucking Nia would hit her with a Samoan drop, throw that bitch around, tossed her across the ring, hit her with a body slam, along with an elbow drop, trapped her against the turnbuckle, hit the stink face, which, whatever. But, people, I'm sure they got a kick out of that. Bayley got out of a submission hold. I think at one point she even put her in like a fucking bear hug. If this is how you got to work, you got to work. You know what I mean? At least she looked all right doing it. And I'm telling you, it was working. Fucking Bayley hits the belly to back suplex, which I didn't like seeing her topple the big giant heel that fast, but whatever. And at least, Nia was getting up fast enough to make it look like it wasn't like affecting her. Nia then sends her to the top rope like he had stated here, like a stun gun. Again, tremendous notes if you want to look up tgrwrestling.net. But Bayley came back with the jumping forearm smash. Bayley sent a charging Nia to the floor. Nia missed a leg drop on the apron, so Bayley kicked her into the barricade. Bayley then jumped off the steel steps to dive onto Nia, leading into Bayley punching her a few times. Bayley then went up top, but Nia was there to trip up Bayley on the turnbuckle. Nia then powered out of a guillotine choke by Bayley, which, again, I like that. Again, whenever you're smaller and I'm behind you, I'm going to choke your fucking ass. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to choke your big ass. Again, all this stuff kind of came across as believable. Obviously, in a real fight, I would assume that Bayley probably get her shit pushed in. But they did a good job selling the story to where if this was a fight between the two, you might see this playing out like this. Again, Nia powers out of the guillotine choke. Fucking hit a senton and a leg drop for a 2 count. Nia then went to the middle turnbuckle and jumped off with the leg drop, but Bayley was able to get out of the way. So, fucking then she hits the Bayley to belly for a 2 count. That was her old finish, as he had stated in there. It is a little frustrating to see moves like that getting fucking just used for false finishes. Can't stand when Damian Priest does the fucking Razor's Edge and it gets a 2 count. I'm sorry, it just looks fucking stupid. But whatever, I mean, it's not even her most impressive move. And in the context of this match, if I hit a big guy with that move and I was actually able to lift him, highly doubt that would finish him. So it's like, I can kind of understand it. Anyway, fucking from there, Bayley then charged at her, who then hit her with the Uranagi. Looked nice. It was a stiff Uranagi. She then set up the Annihilator Splash and connected for another 2 count. Again, not big on all the false finishes, but it was getting the fans into it because the fans, they were kind of building up with it, right? Like, they were building them up. Nia was getting a lot of offense in, and Bayley starts to come back. The fans are getting into it. And at this point, the fans are kind of exhausted. They've been there for a minute. So this was definitely a match that, you know, had a lot to kind of deal with. Anyway, fucking as Nia sold that she was shocked because, you know, she kicked out of the fucking Uranagi, and so she butted Bayley a couple of times. She then charges at her or whatever, but gets sent into the corner. Fucking Bayley moves, and Nia, you know, shoulder goes right into the ring post. Bayley then dove onto Nia onto the floor, but Nia caught her and gave her a Samoan drop onto the floor over on the side by the fucking stage. Nia then sent Bayley back into the ring, leading into a running splash. She hit a running hip attack, you know, where she hits her with her ass against the turnbuckle. Nia then goes for an annihilator again, but Bayley got up and punched Nia in the backside. She then gave her a gave Nia an impressive power bomb that this really got the fans off their feet. They're thinking, okay, here we go. Like they're thinking the finish is coming. And she then goes up top to hit an elbow drop to follow that, gets a 2 count. And at this point, Bayley's selling. She's exhausted. Nia's exhausted. Really good match at this point. And then Tiffany Stratton comes out. Don't really care for Tiffany Stratton. I don't care. I don't see how people think she's attractive, but that's a whole other thing. She comes out or whatever. The referee comes down. Blah, 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 blah. They're selling like she's going to cash in. Bayley's able to obviously stop the cash in. But then Nia gets a roll up. Fucking Bayley then he's able to get out of it, hit Nia with the knee to the face. But Nia was able to catch Bayley, and she hit a powerbomb. And this powerbomb was nasty. But the second powerbomb got even more fucking ridiculous. That second powerbomb, holy shit, it looked like Devin had said when we were in the fucking Discord watching it. He was like, that's some Kevin Nash shit. Boy, that was some Kevin Nash. I ain't gonna lie. Like, it was some stank on that powerbomb, boy. And, you know, Bayley has a fat ass, and you heard that motherfucker collide with the mat. I'll give him that. And then she hit another Annihilator splash, and she hit the fucking a second one right afterwards. Annihilator, for those who don't know, it's basically just like the fucking bonsai drop, whatever you want to fucking call it. You know, the big guy fucking doing the fucking shit. And, I mean, it literally, the last, like, finished few sequence there, the way I just read it, doesn't give it any kind of justice, because I'm telling you, the last, like, minute of the match, it felt like a fucking squash match. Like, Nia just went in there, power bombs this bitch 2 times in a row, drags her over to the corner, fucking hits her with like 2 back-to-back bonsai drops, sits on that bitch and wins. And I'm like, okay, so does that mean that Tiffany's not going to cash in? Nope, okay, guess Nia's champion. And that was it. And again, you know, the finish kind of fell flat for me. It wasn't really following the story of the match, but hey, look, not every match has to be, you know, it doesn't have to be the way you want it to be. I feel like it actually came out the right way. I'm telling you, this did a lot for me. Again, I would have liked to seen it a little differently, but no, hey, look, a nice clean win. Puts over the king and queen of the ring, whatever you want to call it, off pretty strong. You know, that makes it look like, okay, if you win queen of the ring, king of the ring, you know, that means they're putting the rocket ship on you. And that's how it used to be back in the day. So I really like that. Again, good booking decision by Triple H. Makes the king of the ring, the queen of the ring feel important. And good match by Nia. Really, really enjoyed it. Parker said his favorite wrestler is the Ultimate Warrior. Yeah, the Warrior was definitely something hopefully you'll appreciate the intro to the show. Don't know if you're watching on YouTube, definitely rewind and catch the intro to the show. Little reminiscent of the WrestleMania 6 intro. You know, that little Easter egg there for you. But anyway, we then get the CM Punk Drew McIntyre match. This is probably the match I had the most build up to it at this point. And a lot of people were looking forward to it. Some of the match I actually had any kind of interest going into the show. Because I really thought, like, okay, they're going to do something, right? Like, this is going to be, it's going to be good. CM Punk's first official singles match back. Yeah, he had the one that wasn't televised on a house show against Dominic, but this is his first program. He's trying to sell some tickets like he always keeps trying to run his mouth about, right? Like, I was pumped up to see this. Didn't really think it was going to be the greatest match per se, just because I'm not a big fan of Drew McIntyre's work. Definitely don't like the way he throws some shitty fucking belly-to-bellies. But I was expecting to see CM Punk. I was expecting to be entertained. I'm telling you right now, probably one of the worst matches on the card. It shocked me. couldn't believe how bad this came across. And honestly, this didn't feel more so like a match, but like a segment to tease and set up the next match, because you can tell they're definitely bringing this forward into like a trilogy. And it just didn't work for me. Cool for Punk, though, to put him over and on a big stage like this. You know, this was in a prime spot in the card. You know, it's right when the sun's down. It's late. People were able to, you know, they kind of lost some energy, but they were able to get some time. Like, they're ready. This fucking crowd was dead during this match. I'm sure they might have been a little tired, but this couldn't have been in a better spot on the card. This couldn't have been in a better place. Everything was set up. People were emotionally invested, and it just fucking fell flat. Like, I'm telling you, bro, the crowd was dead towards the end of this match. Like, last fucking 5-10 minutes, at least from what I remember. I mean, they were fucking dead. Punk, you know, the other thing that shocked me too, again, the same kind of following what I had stated about Rhea and fucking Liv. Whenever you're in a feud with someone like that, and the build is to the point where people are talking about killing each other or wanting to beat each other's ass, if you start the match off and you're not just wanting to go in there and swing at that motherfucker, what are we doing? I hate the whole presentation of the fucking the lights come down and the introductions. It looks so dumb. If you did it from across the ring, like in the UFC or whatever, it makes sense. These motherfuckers are like, they're not even looking at each other. They're just doing fucking 2K poses to the fans. What are we... Anyway, did not like the presentation of that shit. Anyway, fucking the whole story of this match also was trying to get over the special guest referee angle. You know, they had to give Seth Rollins something to do. And, yeah, I mean, he basically just let him sit there and brawl outside the ring. A lot of fucking shit. They come inside, they're punching each other in the corner. Seth is counting to 5. Did it twice. Fucking, you know, it shows that he's just letting them fight, even though they're breaking the rules. Not much really going on at this point. Just, again, a lot of strikes, just beating the tar out of each other, but they had to wait until the bell rung to do it. It was a little cool moment, I guess, that you got the fans all hyped up, and they're jumping around like, oh, as soon as that bell rings, I'm going to beat your ass, but fuck the bell. You know what I mean? Fuck the bell. Again, you know, after that, I know they work outside at some point. They're over there on the announce table, just beating the shit out of each other. I'm not really using his notes here because, like I said, there's not much to really talk about. He tries to make this look like a lot more happened than it did, I'm telling you, because he's literally detailing every last little fucking thing, but it really wasn't this deep. Like, it was basically just a whole bunch of shit. Eventually, at some point, they get it down to where Drew hits a catapult while Punk's, like, underneath the ring apron. So he hits, like, the metal support beam. Fucks his sternum up. They get back in the ring. Punk at this point is selling like he's fucked. He's trying to come back with some punches. Great selling by Punk. I mean, obviously, he did a great job there. Looked fucking phenomenal, too. Like, he's really... I remember watching Punk when I was younger, and he was a face or whatever. This is like when he would have been an ECW type shit. This is like 2007. And I don't know. If you watch him then and now, it's two different people. Like, I've gone back and watched that shit for nostalgia's sake. He is completely grown. Like, this motherfucker he's a really good dude. They're throwing each other, like, he's hitting them with Drew's hitting snap suplexes. They're doing the shitty belly to bellies. Didn't care for any of that shit. Fucking Punk is fucking... he didn't really have much offense going on here until he fucking starts hitting some kicks and shit. Again, this is after fucking Drew's doing a whole bunch of dumb shit to him. Like I said, the belly to bellies, the chops, all that stuff shit. Eventually, Drew hits a sit-out powerbomb that I actually think is probably the best move I've seen him hit out of his entire repertoire. I think that looks better and more demonstrative and more impactful than his shitty fucking boot that he does for his finish. The whatever you fucking call it, the goddamn, it's basically just Sheamus' shit, but both feet are in there. It looks way better than the DDT. Like, you're a big dude like that, 6'4", 6'5", or whatever they're advertising you as. When he's at least over 6 foot, and you're built as fuck like that, and you're just doing a DDT, and you couldn't come up with anything else? Literally fucking anything else? I don't know, bro. I just... but set up powerbomb looked really fucking nice, though. Again, Rollins is like, this whole time, they're getting pissed at him or whatever, saying that he's not counting right. You've seen it before. Drew then brings a steel chair into the match. Again, Seth doesn't really give a fuck. But at this point in time, I don't know if it was just because Drew had gotten into it with them or whatnot. It gets the story they're trying to tell. Seth pulls the chair away and tells him, don't fucking hit Punk with the chair. That leads to Punk able to get a roll up. But fucking Seth isn't able to fucking capitalize on the pin. So that leads to Punk getting pissed. At some point, I can't remember how we get to this point. I think it was during the Anaconda Vice. Punk is able to take the bracelet, and he fucking takes it back from him, whatever, and keeps it. Or let's see here, because let's just follow his notes, because I know that happens very soon. Hits a running knee in the corner, whatever. It looked like shit, I'm not going to lie, but he hit another running knee in the corner, followed by a clothesline. He then hits a third running knee, the clothesline, one up top, blew a kiss to Seth, and then hit the elbow drop. That got a 2 count. Punk then went for the Anaconda Vice. Drew tried to fight it. Punk got it and locked it in. That's when he takes the bracelet off during the Anaconda Vice, yep. And so he ignores the finish. That way he can take the fucking bracelet off. Again, didn't really like that either. Didn't really come across as something that his character would do. Again, like, what the fuck? You're giving up this shit over a fucking dumbass bracelet? Like, you told me this, my girlfriend made this for me. My fiance made this for me. Like, what? Wife, whatever. I don't know. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry. Especially when you're in a feud where this guy's like beating your ass, like it's fucking hatred. He put you out of it. He just cost you a fucking. The whole story is that he wanted to be in main event of WrestleMania, and you're gonna like fucking the thing that you give a fuck about more now. It's a stupid fucking bracelet. Like what are we doing, bro? Anyway, this basically draws. Punk gets distracted because of the bracelet. Drew's able to fucking, at this point, he fucking hits him with some move. The bracelet comes off. I think it was when he hit the Claymore. That was a false finish. Fucking Drew then goes for the Future Shock DDT, but Punk was able to escape, send Drew into the ring post. Punk then set up to go to sleep, but he's looking at Seth, who had the bracelet on, because he picked it up when they're in the middle of doing some shit. I don't know if he was just trying to make sure it didn't get fucking... whatever. Again, it's a stupid story with the bracelet. And Punk at that point fucking stops and is like, what the fuck are you doing with the bracelet or whatever? That allows Drew to capitalize and fucking hit fucking Punk with the fucking move. And hit him with the punch in the back. That causes them to crash into Seth, who then took a bump to the floor. Drew then hits the Future Shock DDT, but before he could hit it, Punk got out of it and hit the GTS. And because Rollins is on the floor, obviously, that gave CM Punk the protective finish. So he's not involved, right? And then fucking Seth gets back in. Again, this obviously got Punk infuriated, getting to their face. They're screaming at each other. In fact, that made me more interested in a match between them and this shit. Anyway, he fucking hits Rollins with the GTS, and then he says, it ain't always about me, but it's never about you. And then fucking gets his bracelet, puts it on, and then turns around, and Drew hits him with a low blow, and then hits the Claymore, and then Rollins comes over and counts the fucking pin, and then fucking after that, Drew takes the fucking bracelet back, and fucking Seth kind of sold it like, I didn't want to fucking do this, and then he leaves. I don't know. Maybe I just was expecting more of like a fucking brawl. Maybe I was expecting, and we got that towards the beginning of the match, but then afterwards it just kind of turned into Punk selling a lot, and then Drew not really doing anything overly interesting. Again, I don't like the way Drew wrestles. This just didn't work for me. I can see why other people may have liked it, but like I said, for a good chunk of it, the crowd was dead. I don't know if that was just tired, but also it didn't seem like they were all that interested after the brawl. Like after the brawl, and they just kind of started working a normal match. I feel like I'm not alone in this. I feel like a lot of people were let down by that. And it definitely feels like, again, they weren't trying to pay anything off here. In the next match they have, because I'm sure it'll be a fucking trilogy, nothing will be paid off there. It feels like the match that you're going to want to get between the two is going to be in a fucking Hell in a Cell or some shit at like the Bad Blood pay-per-view in October. So, whatever. For people that like Punk and Damian Priest, you know, I'm sure maybe you enjoyed it a lot more. The next match I end up feeling like was better than that, but it definitely left a lot to be desired. In fact, at this point, I can definitely tell you the reaction during this match had nothing to do with the action in the ring. People were just fucking tired. I'm getting fucking tired just thinking about it, because I mean, I was. It's a long pay-per-view. It's like 4 hours long. Priest and fucking Gunther, and I'm just gonna fly through this one, to be honest, because again, not much to really talk about until we get to like the middle part of the match. A lot of fucking strikes. They're fucking hitting each other, hard chops, headbutts, kicks. Damian Priest hitting Frankensteiners, all this shit. Probably seen more of the build to this match than I did the others from the Raw or SmackDowns or whatever the fuck that I watched. They had a lot of vignettes and video packages about it. I don't know, but I don't really care for Damian Priest on the mic. He cut a promo on the Raw that I watched where he's like looking at the hard camera. He's trying to act like he cares, but I just couldn't believe his character. He's not the worst, and he's definitely improved, at least in terms of like fucking how he carries himself, but I just don't, again, I don't really like the way his character's presented. I feel like he shines when he acts like he's just this badass, because that is one thing with Damian Priest, I will say, is that compared to everyone on the roster, he has a look that makes him look unique. And it's not just a look, like the dude actually is kind of athletic. So when you see him in comparison to other people on the roster, like, I can buy that he would be able to beat their ass. So already there, it's not a matter of believability of Damian Priest. It's just a matter of how they present him. I don't want to see him doing a lot of fucking small guy kind of moves. That's just not where I get my enjoyment out of it. I want to see Damian Priest beating the fuck out of people. I'm saying you got to be like Goldberg or something. But if you're a big dude with that kind of look, utilize it, right? Like, that would make it easier to get into that kind of match. I mean, hell, he does a fucking Razor's Edge. That's a perfect finish, but people kick out of it. Like, what are we doing? So, I don't know. It just, and I wish he would hit it a little better too. It depends on who he's working with, but I don't know. So anyway, everyone knew this match was not ending clean. Like, there wasn't a shot in fucking hell. It was cool. You know, like, it was back and forth, a lot of strikes. Priest is holding his own type shit as the story they're telling. Gunther is definitely getting advantage or whatever. Every time he would start to take advantage or try to take over the match, Damian Priest would intercept. Damian Priest was outpowering him. That was this kind of story they were getting across. Everything's working. Gunther, it wasn't just a strike fest. Eventually they'd start getting into some moves. He's hitting a butterfly suplex, back suplex, all kinds of nice shit. It was a decent match towards the middle of the match. But that was also where it was the most dead. Very disappointed in that. Again, I can't really blame them for that. I think it was more so the crowd is exhausted, man. They were at least clapping. They gave him that. But this was not as bad as the crowd reaction would have made you think. You know, he chopped him so hard, I guess a couple times he must have grazed him. You know, fucking Gunther's chest is bleeding. So that got a reaction from the crowd when they zoomed in on his chest. Again, they're just beating the tar out of each other. Eventually, Gunther's able to fucking, looking through here. When's he hit the top rope move? It's a big fucking move from the top rope. It's what I remember. But yeah, I mean, they just kind of, they do a big move up top. Again, I know he eventually hits a Razor's Edge, but at some point, Finn Balor comes down to ringside to I guess it looks like he's there to cheer Damian Priest on. Right? And it fucking eventually the big finish is when Gunther applies a sleeper hold, and fucking this motherfucker Damian Priest is goddamn like he's about to go out, and then he like hulks up, you know, because it comes crashing down and it hurts inside, and he was able to fucking escape it, But then fucking when he hits his fucking a close or choke slam or whatever, fucking he goes for the cover, and Finn Balor puts fucking Gunther's feet on the ropes. He did it before even like a 1 count or anything, which that kind of took the drama way out of it, but it's like whatever. And then he sat there with this like shit-eating grin, which just it killed me when I saw it live. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? And it's definitely going to be mean, I'll tell you that. And so anyway, the way they shot it too, Damian Priest didn't know until he watches the replay. And then he like turns around and sees fucking Finn or whatever. And then like that gets him to want to attack him. But then fucking Gunther puts him in another fucking shit or whatever, right? Like he puts him in another fucking hold. But then Damian Priest is able to escape again. Again, fucking hulks up. And then one last time or whatever, I think they did the same shit. He's able to go out there and he starts choking Finn Balor, but then Gunther was able to hit him fucking power bomb, and then fucking put a sleeper hold on him where he was able to fucking get the body scissors around, and that was it. So Gunther is your new champion. Phenomenal match. I'm telling you, this match actually exceeded my fucking expectations, because one of the other biggest gripes I have with Damian Priest is that he kind of has the same match. At least this one he was forced to do something different because he's wrestling another guy that has the same fucking matches. And Gunther, whenever he likes whoever he's working with, he does. I know he tries to change it up a little bit and tell a different story, but this one definitely worked. It was good. Not much I can really say about that. I think going forward, it'll at least give something for Damian Priest to do, because there was just no logical sense to have him continue with this title reign. I know some people felt like it was what was elevating him, but I definitely think he was better off as a transitional champion. Get the title belt on a heel going forward. You can have him chase him too. It's going to be interesting how they go about this, but obviously I'm assuming it's going to result in a tag team. And what I was pitching to fucking Devin, and this is something they could book out all the way to WrestleMania. I would not fucking... It would actually make a lot of sense for Damian Priest to be in a tag team with Jey Uso. Like, fucking, going forward, fucking Jey Uso has some beef with the Bloodline, so does Damian Priest. You could set that up as a tag match between fucking Damian Priest and Jey versus Finn and fucking whatever the fucking the Judgment Day is that he has tag belts with. That's a match there. They win the belts. You could have them stay as a tag team, keep that going until the Rumble. At the Rumble, fucking Jey Uso or Damian Priest eliminates each other. They end up obviously having some disagreements. That's why they lose the belt. And that's a match you have at Mania, and it's going to elevate both of them. So I think that would be a good program. Again, that's just me fantasy booking. There's probably no shot they do any of that, but I thought that, give both of them something to do, and it gives Gunther a chance to have his title reign, and you can have Gunther in the mix with fucking, Punk and McIntyre and Rollins. So there's plenty of shit there. And I think it works out. So yeah, good for Gunther, good for everybody. I think everybody came out of this looking a lot better than they went in. Damian Priest had a phenomenal performance. The fans were really into that fucking match towards the end. Like, I'll say this, like, I said they were dead for most of it. If you go back and watch, all they were able to do is clap. But whenever he fucking was in them goddamn chokeholds, and the way he was selling it, and the way it was looking like this motherfucker Gunther was about to cook his ass, and no, like, the reactions he got, it worked. So, not a big Damian Priest fan, but it does seem like people are turning on him. So, like, they definitely like him. Hopefully we'll see what they can do with that, and if he can, fix up the promos, get the presentation fixed up a little bit, start doing some big moves, and we'll be, it'll be pretty good. They had some segment where Jelly Roll came in and chokeslammed fucking the A-Town down or whatever. So be it, whatever. And then we get to the main event. And the main event was definitely the best part about this show, as expected. Very similar to the match that he put on with Roman at both WrestleManias, where it starts off with a singles match and eventually everyone starts interfering. A lot of gaga. And I'm not going to break this one down spot by spot because it's 12:30, so I really want to get to bed. But I will tell you this. I kind of go through it or whatever. It wasn't the best performance for Solo. It was all right. Would definitely encourage you to watch this one, though. It was definitely pretty entertaining. more often than not, you would have been able to predict this one to a T. This is where the predictable actually comes in on the graphic that you're seeing on screen. Because at this point, I think Devin went like 8-0, and I was like 7-1 on the night for the finishes and the calls. Like, I mean, I was literally predicting finishes in the middle of a match. Like, it was getting fucking ridiculous. But this one in particular, during halfway through the show, was like, you know, the finish is going to be. It's going to be fucking Roman's going to come back and save him after, you know, Cody's already ran out of people coming out to help him out. I knew Orton and Kevin Owens are going to be involved the second I saw the video package during the pre-show. And you have fucking fingers you can count, you know, the fucking the 4 people in the fucking bloodline. It's like, okay, who's going to come out to help? So it's like, yeah, that is what it is. It was cool. Like I said, it's just we've seen this match a bunch of times. Cody did a great job. He tried to make Solo look like $1 million. I mean, at one point he's like hung down on a fucking turnbuckle for at least like 3-4 minutes while Solo's doing a whole bunch of offense. Very similar offense. Like the comparisons to Umaga is valid because motherfucker just basically took his whole goddamn moveset but lacks any of the charisma. And that's my biggest problem with fucking Solo. Next to his goddamn theme, which throughout the entire match we couldn't stop laughing because every time we heard his fucking theme, all we could fucking think of here. Let me find the fucking in my Discord. We have a bunch of sounds or whatever set up, and all I could fucking think of whenever we hear fucking Solo's goddamn theme. A second here. I'm telling you, like we were just it was fucking diabolical. Like we were just sitting there saying this shit throughout the whole match. And hold on, I got you. Yeah. And it does what his fucking theme sound like is. We're just sitting there dying. It's like, I don't know. It's a bad theme. His graphics are fucking old. It's out of date. Don't like his fucking presentation. But again, like I said, Cody was trying his best to make him look good. Didn't do the best here and there, but it got the job done, at least at the end of the day, because the finish, even though it wasn't really predictable, fans went crazy for it. And it does look like, you know, eventually we're going to get a Bloodline versus Bloodline. You know, Roman's turning fucking face. I'm not a big Roman Reigns fan, but, you know, people are, they've been invested in this Bloodline storyline, and it has been the best thing the company's had going for it. So, and if it sucks to say that that's where we're at, but hopefully there's a light. You know, there's a lot of talent now on the roster. All in all, didn't think the show was horrible. It's definitely not as bad as some of the SummerSlams we've reviewed in the past. But main event, you know, I definitely encourage you to check it out. If you like the previous Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns matches, this one is very similar. And there's some other shit on the show that I could recommend. Like I said, Nia and Bayley, give it a chance. I'm telling you, that match, you know, try it on for size. You might like it. It actually shocked me at how good it was. Gunther and Damian Priest, fan reaction will make it tough at first because, like I said, they're quite dead, but they pick up, and the match itself isn't horrible. And it's just the lower card is all. I feel like they all under-delivered. The Rhea Liv match did not care for. It felt like everybody else kind of fell flat too at the beginning, but the last 3 matches or so is when it picked up. So not a terrible SummerSlam. Again, I don't give match ratings. I just tell you if I think they're good or not. This show probably won't go back to rewatch it. I know during the main event, if you notice, I had Jacob Fatu and the My Leg guy from SpongeBob. He fucking hurt his knee on the fucking announcer's tables, and we'll kind of go more into depth for now. Like I said, I'm trying to get off the air as soon as I can here, but yeah, don't really got much more to tell you. Definitely make sure you check out the podcast, because I'm sure we'll do a Raw review. Like I said, those are going to be on Wednesdays going forward. SmackDowns will be on Saturdays, and at the event there is a pay-per-view. The SmackDown reviews will also be a pre-show or preview show where we give our predictions, and will also be a show later that night as well, live, where we discuss what we saw at the pay-per-view. So be on the lookout for that. Probably drop some retro content as well. We'll definitely discuss some older wrestling again. Can't wait to do that. It's been a minute. Kind of go through over some things that I may have missed or whatever. He said, is Night of Champions next pay-per-view? Yeah, I think Night of Champions is next in September or something like that. I have to look. I don't know. Like I said, it's been a while. So I just know the October one because they had a preview for it during the show. It was one of the advertisements was Bad Blood. We'll just have to see. Maybe it'll get better. It's not worse. It's definitely a lot better from when the last time I was reviewing this shit. When the last time I tuned in, like back in 2023, I was not feeling this shit. I was not feeling it. we did a review for Clash at the Castle, the SummerSlam, and Survivor Series, and we were trying to do some Raws, like every Raw in between, and it was just so fucking painful. And the biggest issue I have is just watching the shows week to week. The fucking actual fucking the PLEs or whatever are a lot more watchable, but the in-ring action leaves a lot to be desired. Mainly your bread and butter with WWE is going to be the PLEs, so I just recommend trying to stick it out with those. But the in SmackDown's not horrible if you can watch it on Hulu. Definitely recommend that. But yeah, no, I won't be covering NXT. Will not be covering AEW. Damn sure won't be covering AEW. But yeah, like I said, just keep an eye out for that. That's what's coming up. And obviously football season's coming up. And if we got any football guys out there, I'm fucking pumped. Like, I watched the fucking Hall of Fame game. That's how desperate I am for some fucking goddamn, that pigskin in my fucking life. So, I'm gonna fucking hit the hay. I got work at fucking 8 in the morning, so shouldn't be doing it this late. But like I said, scheduling conflicts got in here. And if there's anything we missed during the show, because I'm gonna have Devin and Berner give their thoughts during the Raw review anyway. So don't worry. We'll kind of tackle on anything we probably missed. This is a little different. I also don't really have an outro, guys, for you. Usually I have like an outro sound for you, but I'm just going to sign it off. So thank you all for tuning in. Definitely encourage y'all to like, share, subscribe, favorite, whatever you want to do. If you want to listen to the show while you're at work or on the go, I'll have this edited and thrown up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you find your podcasts. It's bound to be there. Do note on Spotify, you will see the show listed twice. I'm working on that. I hear you. Just look for the one that has the reviews on it, so you'll know that the other one's quite old because they're old reviews. So I encourage everyone to check out the archives if you like. You can kind of get an idea what the show's like. It's kind of just on the cuff. He said, "Do I like Ultimate Warrior?" Ultimate Warrior is cool, man. He had his moments. But we'll do a retro review. Tell you what. Hey, look. In the SummerSlam time, I might go back and what's the SummerSlam where he was Warrior versus the Honky Tonk Man. Might cover that one when he took the belt off the Honky Tonk Man. But that's gonna be it for me. Like I said, just be on the lookout for Monday Night Raw reviews coming up, and we'll see y'all going forward. Thank you for watching Jay Rich Talks, and like I said, keep an eye on us on Spotify as well, because that's where a lot of the content's going to be, and I'll see y'all on the next one.